This week's episode takes a look at the basics on the unlikely journey from wrecker to rescue bot of Autobot helicopter WHIRL. The toy that would become the original WHIRL was created by Japanese toy company Takatoku Toys. Named the Oberon Gazette, it transformed into an attack helicopter and was released in 1983 as part of the Special Armored Battalion Dorvac toy line, which was promoted by an anime of the same name. After Takatoku went out of business in 1984, the design for the Gazette was acquired by Bandai, and from there it was licensed by Hasbro and imported to become part of the second year of the Transformers toy line in 1985 as WHIRL. Unusual looking compared to most Transformers of the era, with one eye and claws instead of hands, WHIRL was marketed alongside fellow Dorvac import Roadbuster as an Autobot deluxe vehicle. Marvel Comics writer Bob Budiansky wrote a profile for WHIRL that characterized him as an aerial assault Autobot, whose signature tactic in battle was to joyfully fly in wild and dangerous patterns, psyching out Decepticons with deliberately reckless, irrational behavior that made them think he was crazy. Now, unfortunately, Hasbro had previously faced some legal difficulties incorporating another Bandai toy they had licensed, Jetfire, into the Transformers animated series, and evidently they didn't want to go through it again, because WHIRL didn't appear in any American media. Not the cartoon, not the Marvel comic book, not even a commercial. However, he did show up in a couple of stories written for the United Kingdom's version of the comic, in which he was a member of the rough-and-tumble Autobot commando unit, the Wreckers. Now, he only appeared with the team in 3 stories, and after his toy was discontinued in 1987, that was the last that would be seen of WHIRL for over a decade. But thanks to his lack of appearances anywhere else, being a wrecker wound up being remembered as probably the most notable thing about WHIRL. And when the team returned to star in new comic books in the 21st century, from Dreamwave Productions to IDW Publishing to the Marvel sequel series Regeneration 1, WHIRL would reliably appear as a member once again, though still a minor one, never doing much of significance within the team. In contrast to his low profile in media, this era saw WHIRL become a semi-regular presence in new Transformers toy lines, with multiple new incarnations of the character being released. The first was in the Transformers Universe toy line in 2004, a recolor of the 1992 Autobot Rotorstorm. The Transformers Collectors Club would later depict this version of WHIRL as hailing from the world of the Unicron trilogy, where he was a survivor of the dead Cybertronian colony planet Combatron. WHIRL joined the world of the live-action movies in 2009's Revenge of the Fallen toy line, a recolor of the movie Autobot Evac in the colors of the Dorvac Oberon Gazette. This WHIRL was an MH-53 Pave-Low helicopter, and a master of the Cybertronian martial art Metallicato. A second live-action movie WHIRL, the first to be a brand new toy rather than a recolor of an existing figure, followed in 2011's Dark of the Moon line. This one an observant Autobot who could convert into either a one-man gyrocopter or a weapon mode for his human partner Major Sparkplug to pilot. In 2013, the Transformers Generations toy line released a version of WHIRL from the world of the Fall of Cybertron video game. A retool of the Combaticon Vortex, he could combine with the other Wrecker figures released in the series to become the giant robot Ruination. It was in between these new toy releases that WHIRL finally got his first standout role in media, when he was chosen to be a main cast member in IDW Publishing's 2012 comic book, More Than Meets the Eye. This series delved into WHIRL's original profile, revealing that the crazy and irrational persona it described him as affecting wasn't really that much of an act. In the days before the war, when Cybertron was governed by a caste system that assigned Transformers jobs based on their alternate mode, IDW's WHIRL defied society's rules to become a watchmaker instead of an aerial soldier. As punishment, the planet's corrupt government mutilated him, removing his head and hands and replacing them with the one-eyed face and claws of his original toy. Left destitute, WHIRL's life descended into a cycle of violence and abuse, living on the streets, spending time in prison, that left him a psychologically unwell bot, full of anger and hatred both for the world and for himself, which he took out on others in gleeful, sometimes even zany displays of random violence. At one point, while working as an enforcer for the Senate, he roughed up the young Megatron, a beating that set the future Decepticon leader on the path that would eventually lead him to start the Great War. Even after joining the Autobots, WHIRL refused to let go of his anger, using it to shut others out and justify his own increasing brutality. This attitude made him a good fit for the Wreckers, until he was thrown off the team for attempting to euthanize their badly wounded leader, Springer. This was where More Than Meets the Eye picked up WHIRL's story, as he joined the crew of the starship Lost Light. Angrier and more unstable than ever, he quickly made an enemy of crewmate Cyclonus. But over time, their feud gradually evolved from the two trying to kill each other into an odd kind of friendship that saw WHIRL slowly open back up to the world, as his experiences aboard the ship helped him realize that he still had room in his heart to care, both for others, and maybe for himself as well. The new fame IDW brought WHIRL was soon followed with a brand new toy in the Transformers Generations toy line in 2014, based directly on his original figure, but incorporating some aspects of his IDW design, like his bird-like digitigrade legs. This new toy was also released in Japan as part of the Transformers Legends toy line, earning WHIRL an appearance in the tie-in Legends manga. In this goofy little story, WHIRL was a robot built by the evil Tankor, who was convinced to turn on his creator by a human girl. A girl who looked just like the hologram avatar used by WHIRL himself in IDW's comics. He later hopped dimensions from the Legends world into the world of the original Transformers cartoon, where he joined the Autobots and helped to found that universe's version of the Wreckers. This newfound fame continued into 2018, when WHIRL debuted on television as part of the cast of Rescue Bots Academy, though this version of the character was very different to the original. A cheerful, energetic young female Autobot, this WHIRL transformed into a police helicopter and was the most eager student at the Rescue Bots Academy, where she trained to become a first responder, investigated crimes and mysteries, and learned the value of friendship and teamwork, all with her signature over-the-top enthusiasm. When she acquired a multi-cog and gained a third mode, she chose a police car, like her idol and mentor, police rescue bot, Chase. Despite how different they were, early designs for this version of WHIRL were based on the original WHIRL. But going by the finished show, we should definitely think of the Rescue Bot and the Wrecker as different characters, since in the episode About a Bot, a drawing of this WHIRL, together with an IDW-style WHIRL, appeared on her locker, indicating that in this series, the two coexist as separate characters. Most recently, in 2020, another new incarnation of WHIRL was added to the Transformers Cyberverse toy line and cartoon. Visually based heavily on IDW's WHIRL, and characterized as a reckless risk-taker like the original, this WHIRL served as part of an underground Autobot Decepticon resistance fighting against the Quintesson invasion of Cybertron. And so, in less than a decade, WHIRL's gone from one of the most overlooked bots in the original toy line to a fan-favourite comic book star to appearing in 2 separate TV shows. It's been a wild, unpredictable rise to fame, but being wild and unpredictable has always been WHIRL's greatest talent. And those are the basics on WHIRL. Share your favorite incarnation of this helibot in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, give clicking the like button a whirl and subscribe for more Transformers history and lore. Plus, get early access to new episodes by supporting the show on Patreon.